Now that we understand the structure of the ear, let's see how hearing actually happens. So in this video, we'll understand the mechanism of hearing. So it all begins with the outer ear, which collects the sound waves from the surroundings and direct them to the eardrum. Now, when these sound waves strike the eardrum, it begins to vibrate, which are then passed on to the ear ossicles. These bones are not just sitting there. They act like mechanical system that makes sound vibrations stronger before sending them into the inner ear. To understand how the ear amplifies sound, let's connect this diagram with what happens inside the ear. So the point in the middle acts as a pivot and the two sides have different length. The effort arm has a length of D2 which is longer than the load arm D1 which is shorter. Now because of this, a small movement on the longer side produces a greater force on the shorter side. So because of this, it is able to pull the heavy stone. Now let's relate this to the ear. Inside the middle ear, the three ossicles act in the similar way. The incus acts like a pivot. The malleus is attached to the eardrum and receives vibration. So it is like effort which moves more. The stapes, on the other hand, transmit the force to the inner ear. So it is like the load that moves less but generates more force. But the amplification doesn't stop here. There is another important factor, which is the area difference. So the area of the eardrum is large, while the area of the oval window is very small. Now, from the physics, we know that the pressure is equals to the force upon area. This means when the same force is applied to a smaller area, the pressure increases. So when the vibrations move from the larger eardrum to the smaller oval window, the pressure becomes much higher. So together, they greatly amplify the vibrations. Now, this amplification is essential because the sound is moving from air in the middle ear into the fluid of the inner ear. If amplification wouldn't be there, most of the sound waves would simply be reflected back and not enter the inner ear. So when the stapes vibrate, it pushes in and out on the oval window almost like a piston moving back and forth. Now think of dropping a small pebble into still water. The single disturbance creates ripples that spread outwards. Something very similar happens inside the cochlea too. Here, the vibration produced by the stapes create wave-like ripples in the fluid which travels forward along the length of the cochlea. Now, if we imagine uncoiling the cochlea, it would look like a long tube as shown here. Now, at the beginning of this tube is the oval window, and the first chamber affected is the Scala vestibuli, which is filled with perilymph. Now the wave starts here and travels along the length of the cochlea. But if we look at the cochlea in a cross section where it is arranged in a spiral manner, the wave begins at the Scala vestibuli, moves towards the tip of the cochlea, and then passes into another channel. From there, it returns back towards the base through the Scala Tympani. At the base, there is another opening called the round window, which moves outward to allow the fluid to move freely. Without this, the fluid wouldn't be able to move at all. As the wave moves forward, it is transmitted to the endolymph within the Scala media as well. Now, inside the Scala media, Resting on the basilar membrane lies the important sensory structure called organ of Corti. Now, this organ contains specialized receptor cells known as hair cells. As the endolymph starts moving, it causes the basilar membrane to vibrate up and down. Since the organ of Corti sits on this membrane, it also moves along with it. As the basilar membrane moves up, it pushes these hair cells against the tectorial membrane. This bends the stereocilia of the hair cells. Now, this mechanical movement gets converted into electrical signals or nerve impulses. Now, these nerve impulses then travel through the auditory nerve to the brain. Finally, in the auditory cortex, these signals are processed and interpreted, and that is when we actually perceive sound.